unfortunate because my neighborhood, there was a lot of good kids that came out of that neighborhood, but a lot of kids got hooked on drugs.
Yeah.
It was infested with drugs.
Yeah.
Right? Then a lot of kids didn't have a shot. And it's unfortunate because we had a lot of good kids that passed away from it. My uncles and relatives being a few of them, you know.
Yeah.
I remember I found my uncle, he OD'd. My grandmother calls me up, you know, it's a whole nother thing, but he developed such a bad coke habit that they got him and shipped him to Long Island. Not because
they were chasing him.
West
Or
Side
he needed
was
to go on
chasing
the
you.
lam, as
Not
he called it.
Yeah, the West Side wants you, you know, they're after you.
He had to go on the lam, bro.
He had to go on the lam, yeah. They call it
He's
the
a
lam.
little lamb.
No, he went to rehab.
Yeah.
He went to,
Well, he had to go straighten out, not get straightened out.
yeah. Oh, that would have been the next thing.
Yeah, he would have been getting straightened out.
I had to go get straightened out.
No, he had to go get cleaned up. Poor kid. It happened to a lot of guys. I remember a lot of guys back in Brooklyn all got addicted to coke too, man.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It was terrible. It was all over the place. It was socially accepted. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
It was. Everywhere you went, it was there. So socially, you found it every party, everything you went to.
My Uncle Tommy, may he rest in peace, right? He was my Uncle Joey's older brother. He had a personality, funny. He was a clown. Everybody loved him, you know. He was tough, but not, you know, he really wasn't a tough guy. You know what I mean?
But he didn't have to make everyone know he was a tough guy. He'd
make everybody laugh. He was like
a party.
Yeah, he was a jester. What do you call those?
Court jester?
Yeah. Tommy was harmless. He wasn't treacherous at all. You know what I mean? He had a good heart. He was very generous. He was really a good kid, but he got addicted to he did what was called a speedball. It's supposed to be like
John Belushi.
Heroin
died from those heroin and
coke together.
Heroin and coke together, right.
So he does a speedball, they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He ODs. We save him.
Oh, you got him.
Got him in the hospital. Beekman Street.
Wow.
Okay? So everybody wound up on Beekman Street. I go to see him. I go, young, you know, no, I learned my lesson. I said, thank God you're here.
That close to death, you should learn a lesson.
Let this be a calling.
Hey, you got a second shot.
It's a blessing. You know, it's calling. No, I learned my lesson. 2 weeks later, the same guy he went and got the speedball from, he got it again, dead. 7 o'clock in the morning, my grandmother finds him in the bed, screaming, calls my house up. Tommy's dead, right? The coroner needs somebody to identify him. Nobody wants to go in the room. I get on the phone with the coroner. He's telling me, hey, somebody has to go in the room. Nobody wants to go in there. Come. I said, all right, I'll be right there. I drive, you know. I walk in the room. I never forget it, you know, looking at him.
Yep.
You know.
Pull the sheet down. You got an idea. Yeah. I had to do that for somebody in Brooklyn, too.
So I'll never forget that image, you know.
It's sad to see that's the last image you have of a guy you've had a lot of care and love for.
Now he's dead. So we got to lay him out.
Yeah.
The funeral parlor, there was only 2 funeral parlors that everybody used, right? One of them was Guidetti Funeral Home. It was on Spring between Mott and Mulberry. And the family lived above the funeral parlor. So the daughter...
The family who owned the funeral parlor lived above the
Joe Guidetti was the father.
Okay.
He was the... What do you call it? Embalmer. His daughter, I went to school with, Lisa Guidetti. And the wife, I forget the wife's name, they had a son too. They lived above the funeral parlor. I don't know, it never bothered them, but, you know.
Sounds eerie.
Sounds bad, right?
Yeah.
We go. My grandmother has no money. She's broke, right? So I told my grandmother, because he used to be in the street, my Uncle Tommy. He used to deal whatever he could. Pot, coke, heroin. He was a street kid, you know. So I said, who owes him money? I said, well, there's a list of people. I said, well, anybody in the neighborhood owe money? I'll go collect it.
Yeah.
She said, this PJ owes him $10,000. Now, PJ is this kid, Pisciotti is the last name. So PJ was the younger bunch. Like, in other words, maybe like a year younger than me.
Okay.
Or 2 years younger. Like around my sister's age. Well, he was in that class, So PJ, I know him all my life. His brother, his father, they were related to the Diacos. I don't know what it is. Me and PJ, I don't want to say we never got along. I don't want to say I didn't like the kid, but he always had this face, like this chip on his shoulder.
I got you.
Always like always just that, I don't know, that way about him that I never really cared for.
He just didn't. He didn't fit into what you were looking for.
No, I
as
mean
a
I
friend.
know him.
Yeah.
I had him and his brother training with the karate in the community room that Jimmy was talking about.
Okay.
He hung out in the same candy stores I hung out in. He played football with us. The whole thing. PJ, I got to say, growing up, he was a good kid. He was a kid from the neighborhood, and he was a ballsy kid. He'd fight. I don't know what it is. He called me on the wrong day, right? So I'm in the car with Egghead. Egghead's driving me. I'm looking for PJ. I got a 25 Beretta, but I don't want to shoot him. I just want to tell him, pay the money. If he wants to insult my intelligence, I'm just going to crack him. Okay? So I got the 25 Beretta in the car. We make the turn. We're going down Spring Street. I make the turn on Elizabeth. Okay? There's PJ walking. He's walking to Prince Street. So I says, there he is. I said, pull over. So he pulls over, my cousin.
Okay.
I get out of the car. I say, come here, I want to talk to you. I says, hey, you owe my uncle $10,000? He goes, no, I don't owe him $10,000. I said, you owe him 10 grand. I said, well, he's not here.
Yeah.
He's not here to say otherwise. You owe him 10,000. No, I don't owe him 10,000. So right away I crack him.
Mm-hmm.
I hit him an open hand. Boom. He goes back, and he's stumbling back, right? I punch him again. He falls up against the wall, falls down, rolls, gets up. But when he gets up, he goes like this. But I took it like he wanted to raise his hands. I didn't take it like it was a cover-up. I told Vinny, Egghead, hold him, grab him, because now I want to run back to the car. I want to shoot him.
Yeah.
Because now I'm pissed off, right? Egghead, the maroon, okay? Say that again.
What a maroon.
Yeah. The maroon goes and tries to grab him, but then loses him.
Oh, lovely.
So now this kid's running like Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Where's he run? He runs to Prince Street because he was hanging out with Johnny Brody's son. At that time, he was an associate, technically, of the Lucchese family.
Okay.
Prince Street with the Brodys, right? He runs to Ray's Pizzeria. I'm running in the car to go get the pistol. That's too late for that.
Yep.
So I told Egghead, let's go. He gets in the car. We pull up to Prince Street. Well, my understand was he runs into the pizzeria, grabs Johnny Brody, tells him what happened. Johnny says, go, get out of here before you get killed.
Yeah.
At that time, he was in the halfway house. He takes the train, this kid, back up to the halfway house and goes and checks in. I pull up, and Johnny Brody's there.
Mm.
And right away, he's going, Frankie, the kid's with me. And right away, he sticks it up.
Don't do anything, yeah.
I said, well, he's with you? I said, well, then 10,000.
10 grand.
10 grand. Well, he said, I don't care what he said.
Yeah, he owes the money.
He said. I said, if I find out he picked up his hands, I said, he's going. Frankie's with me, please, blah, blah, blah. I'll pay the 10 grand. I'll vouch for him. I said, okay, good. He's with you. You pay the 10 grand. I said,
yeah.
You want to have him apologize and then come to the wake to pay his respect? We could do that.
Yeah,
okay?
That makes sense.
So Johnny said, let me go to my apartment. So I'll meet you, whatever. It was, at that time it was like maybe, it was early in the afternoon. He said, I'll meet you later, right? Because I said, my grandmother's broke. I said, I'm collecting for my uncle. I had to lay him out. So Johnny meets me that night. He's got the 10 grand. I walk him up to my grandmother's house because he knows my grandmother, Mildred, right? And he paid her the 10 grand, right? And then I told John, I said, okay. He said, listen, I want this kid to apologize. He says, I don't want no problem. He said, I said, okay. I said, he could apologize.
Yeah, why not?
Then he could come pay his respect. So that was the plan. I go back to Guidetti's. I collected the 10 grand from PJ. I collected another 10 grand from other guys. I round up about 30,000. I go to Guidetti. I negotiate a nice casket for him.
Mm-hmm.
I remember it was about $2,500. The flowers, the whole thing. Gave him a first class wake, right? Joey, the brother's in jail, so he's getting furloughed by the state to come to the wake. So this thing's a whole. Now I got the picarillos. Thought about the neurotics, all my aunts. I mean, this is one of those wakes where they're screaming, they're yelling,
they're diving
they're crying,
in the coffins,
they're jumping in the coffin. I'm grabbing them. They're falling on the floor. I'm picking them up. I'm throwing them in chairs. I'm putting tranquilizers in their mouth. I'm giving them water.
The drama.
The drama is like,
it's everywhere. Yep.
Everywhere.
Been to a few of those funerals.
Yeah.
I've been to a few of them.
Screaming and this and that. Rightfully so, because he was only 32, 33 years old. Nobody expected him to die, you know.
And the way he died,
But it was
horrible.
packed. Because I told you, he was loved by everybody, right? So it comes time for PJ to apologize, right? So we go around the corner. Johnny Brody's got him on Mott Street because the funeral parlor is right around the corner. And then here's PJ,
Mm-hmm.
I remember apologizing to me, but his lip is shaking. Like in other words, it should have never happened. And I said, what'd you say? So Johnny goes, no, he's sorry. No, what did he say?
What should never happen?
Right. So then PJ goes, no, I'm sorry. Apologize, and everything else. I said, okay, good. I said, if you want to go in and pay your respect, go ahead. I says, we start with a clean slate. And that was that. So he went in, he paid his respect, and that was that. So the rest of the money, I just gave it to my grandmother. I says, yeah, whatever. Joey comes out, and I was another tearjerker because now he comes out when we're at church.
Oh, wow.
Doing the mass, and then here comes the brother.
Yeah.
And he's jumping in the casket, hugging the other brother. Everybody's crying. I mean, it
starts all over again.
Sonny, this is 3 days of nonstop, one scene after the other, right? We bury him, and that's that.
Low sumo, this ain't a game, Uno. Shout out to my Usos, killing bills like Uma. Balls travel from Pluto, big truck soprano, gabagool and prosciutto, kicking ill like judo, judge and jury like Judy. Hoes think they knew me, flows flow through me, Nike gray hoodie.